You ever wonder how we track a flu outbreak, or how officials know when to warn us about a new virus? Well, there's this incredible, kind of hidden system working behind the scenes, almost like a digital nervous system for our country's health. Today, we're going to pull back that curtain and look at public health informatics, the amazing field that's basically the architect of our health security.
All right, so let's just dive right in. To really get this, we first have to understand the huge problem that public health officials are up against. See, in this day and age, it's not that we don't have enough information. The real problem is trying to make sense of all of it.
I mean, really, it all boils down to this one question. This is the thing that keeps health experts up at night. And, the answer isn't just in a lab or a hospital. It's buried in data. The key is our ability to find it, understand it, and use it fast. The stakes? They couldn't possibly be higher.
And the threats we're facing are just getting more and more complex. We're talking about everything from preparing for a potential bioterrorism to fighting the scary rise of antibiotic resistance, and of course, new infectious diseases that seem to pop up out of nowhere. The one common thread that connects our defense against all of these, it's managing and acting on just massive amounts of information, and doing it accurately and super quickly.
So, faced with all these huge challenges, a pretty specialized field has stepped up to be our front line of defense. And that, right there, is where public health informatics comes into the picture. It's really the brains behind the entire public health operation.
So let's look at the official definition. It's the systematic application of information, computer science, and technology to public health practice, research, and learning. Yeah, I know, that's a mouthful. But here's the key takeaway. This is not just about computers and tech. It's a blend, a fusion of different fields, all laser-focused on one single goal: protecting the health of everyone.
Now here's where things get really interesting, and it's a distinction a lot of people miss. We often hear informatics and IT and think they're the same thing, but they're not at all. Think about it like this. Informatics is the strategy. It's the science of how and why we use data to make people healthier. Information technology, or IT, that's the tools, the actual hardware and software that gets the job done. So one is the blueprint, and the other is the toolbox. You need both, but they are very different jobs.
Okay, so how do we actually go from a single piece of raw data, like say one reported case of the flu, all the way to a big, life-saving public health decision? Well, it's not magic. It happens through a really clear 5-step process. So it all kicks off with acquisition. That's just capturing good, high-quality data. Then comes storage, because you need to save that data in a way that's secure but also easy to get to later. Third, you've got communication, moving the data to wherever it needs to go. Step 4 is manipulation. This is where the magic starts to happen. Combining data, comparing it, looking for those hidden patterns. And finally, maybe the most important step of all, display. This is where you visualize the data, turning all those numbers into charts and maps that we can actually understand and, most importantly, act on.
Now, a process this complex and this important, it doesn't just happen on its own, right? It takes a whole team of specialists, and every single one has a critical role to play. Honestly, you can think of it like building a house. It takes a tight collaboration between the person who wants the house, the architect who designs it, and the crew that actually builds it. And this quote just nails it. The informatician is the knowledge architect. They aren't just pushing data around, they're designing the entire system. They create the blueprint that makes sure information flows the way it's supposed to, stays secure, and actually leads to answers that matter.
So let's break down this team, right? First up, you have the public health official. Think of them as the client. They have the vision. They define the goals. What do we need the system to do to keep people safe? Then you have the informatician. That's our architect. They're the ones designing the data standards, the workflow, the super important privacy rules. And finally, the IT professional. They're the builder. They physically construct and maintain the tech, the databases, the security. You absolutely need all three for any of this to work.
Okay, I know this can all sound a little bit abstract, so let's ground it in a perfect real-world example. A system that protects millions of us every single year, probably without you even realizing it's there.
Everybody, meet the CDC's FluView. If you want to see public health informatics in action, this is it. This is one of the most important tools we have for tracking the seasonal flu across the entire United States. So what does it actually do? Well, FluView is the system that collects, crunches the numbers, and then visualizes national flu data every single week.
It lets you see exactly where the flu is spreading, which strains are going around, and how bad it is in different parts of the country. This is huge because it helps officials track outbreaks almost in real time, get resources like vaccines where they need to go, and keep doctors and all of us in the loop. It's a perfect real-world run-through of those 5 elements we just talked about.
But as powerful as these systems are, the job is not done, not by a long shot. The field of informatics is still facing some pretty big hurdles as it looks toward the future.
We can actually sum up a lot of these challenges with what people in the field call the 3 I's. First, you've got information, just making sure the data we're getting is complete and, actually correct. Second is infrastructure, getting the right technology and high-speed connections to every single health department out there. And third is informatics itself, the simple fact that we need more skilled managers who can handle these incredibly complex projects.
And if we zoom out to the really big picture, the major goals for the future are huge. We're talking about developing truly integrated national public health information systems, closing that frustrating gap between public health data and the info in your doctor's office. And, this is a big one, tackling the very real and valid concerns people have about data confidentiality and personal privacy.
And that really leaves us with a final and absolutely crucial question to think about. As our ability to collect and analyze data grows almost exponentially, we have to constantly walk this incredibly fine line, the line between using all that data for the public good and protecting the privacy of every single one of us. Finding that balance, that's the great challenge for the architects of our health security.